Hi, my name is Dr. Jeanne Van Wyk and I am a clinical psychologist. I specialise in trauma and understanding how our traumatic experiences can influence us and what can be helpful to heal from these experiences and live a life of meaning and purpose.
Early childhood workshops started in Hamilton in 2023 and have become very popular with early childhood education teachers. Why do you think that is?
What we know is that early childhood education centres are seeing a lot more children from refugee backgrounds, and it might be that that these children were often born in New Zealand, but they come from families that have a refugee background. And so teachers are really interested in understanding the refugee journey and the realities of the refugee experience so that they can better meet the needs of these families and the young people. ECE teachers are also working with a lot of families where there's a lot of complexities, and they're looking for tools that can be helpful with supporting them. So what we've heard from ECE teachers is that many of the children in their centres have likely experienced trauma, and that's reflected in a lot of their behaviours. And the teachers want to know practical tools that can be helpful to support them.
How does a trauma-informed model benefit refugee background preschoolers, their teachers, and support staff?
Trauma-informed model really stresses an understanding of the widespread and pervasive impacts of trauma and understands the potential pathways to recovery. And so where this can be really helpful for ECE teachers is if they have an understanding of the impacts of trauma and they're able to recognise the signs and symptoms of trauma amongst their students and the students' family, and then they can use this information or this knowledge to inform their policies, their practices and their day-to-day procedures, and that in turn can meet these young people's needs. A trauma-informed approach also really focuses on the life situation of the child, including the past and the present, and it shifts our perspective from what's wrong with this person to something has happened to them, and that can be really beneficial for teachers to have that approach.
Can you share some examples of early childhood workshops engaging parents from refugee backgrounds in these centres?
And teachers have given us so many wonderful examples of things they're doing to engage parents, from learning about the different cultures in their classroom and really celebrating this diversity, such as getting parents to bring in kai or share stories that are important to them that reflect their cultural background. Teachers have also talked to us about how they've really taken a lot of time to build relationships with the parents and their students and really creating the sense of trust and the sense of belonging in their centres. And teachers have also talked to us about how they've worked really hard at familiarising families with the ECE environment, because remembering a lot of these families might not have any understanding of formal school settings, but also what ECE environments entail. So they've really taken time to tell them and explain around expectations. This is what happens at pickup, this is what happens at drop-off, and that's been a really important part of building relationships.
What is different about running the workshops with early childhood education compared to working with schools?
ECE and that preschool age is a really unique developmental time, and there's key developmental tasks that come up during that time period. So our talks are really very much tailored to that developmental time. And another thing that's different is, as I said before, a lot of families might not have an understanding of what early childhood education means. So a lot of our talks spend a good amount of time on what can be helpful to familiarise or help familiarise these refugee families to what to expect and what early childhood education is, and that can make a really big difference.
What key points should early childhood education teachers follow to prepare traumatised children for school?
One of the best things that ECE teachers can do is develop a strong relationship with the students they're working with and their families. So if they've really spent time to build that sense of trust with the families, that's going to make a really big impact on how these students and their families approach school. So they've got this positive experience of a school environment, and then they can enter primary school, navigate that transition knowing that the school environment is a space where I can trust others, I can feel safe, and I can belong. Another important thing that ECE teachers can do, as I said before, it's around familiarising families and students with the school environment. What are the expectations with pick-up, drop-off, going to the bathroom, having lunch? It makes a big difference. And another thing that ECE teachers can do is they can model and they can teach adaptive emotional regulation skills, from breathing exercises to helping students being able to identify and communicate their needs, and that can make a really big difference when these students start school.